Alright, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be doing RagingTron's new deck. This actually, I was briefly cameoed in one of my other videos because I was playing the top 10 GDI decks and RagingTron was one of them. So I have played this deck on YouTube before, but only for one game. We are going to be playing RagingTron's Zone Trooper deck, which he has a 72% win rate with, which... oh, excuse me. 72%, I think at the top of the ladder, 72% is on the low end. I'd say like 70% is like your baseline for any deck that is functional. If you're like a high rank player, then you should be getting 70% with pretty much any deck, unless the deck is real bad, in which case you shouldn't be playing it on the ladder, because, you know, top ladder is quite hard. If we look at some other win rates of comparative, 78 here for Silas. Also not amazing, but we're like looking towards 80% there. 83 Nincompoop. That's like a solid win rate for a high tier player with a high tier deck, I'd say. Oaken 74. Clear Hoss 89. That's a good win rate. That's a really good win rate. Once you're hitting like 90%, that's a banging win rate. If you're top, like if you're high rank ladder and you're getting 90% win rate with your deck, that's really good. Like, that's a very solid win rate. What's Omar on? 75, yeah, so like I'd say 70% is like the low end. As you can see, like you're just looking at these top 10, look at their win rates. 71 here, this guy's got 81. So as you can see, as I'm saying, like they're usually between 70 and 90. Ensorga has 92, which is extremely high. Anything over 90 is very, very good. Anything below 70 is completely unacceptable. So they're like 66. This is way too low, my guy. Can't be rocking a 66% win rate in the top 10. So yeah, like as you can see, the spread is between 66 and 92. That was the highest and lowest in the top 10. Let's say 668 and 92. So as you can see, like the average, you're looking at about 80% is like your average win rate for a high rank player playing their core deck. So if you're looking at an average of 80%, which I think is about fair, 90% is the top end and 70% is the bottom end. So yeah, if you're like 70 to 80, then your deck is probably underperforming, and if you're 80 to 90, your deck is overperforming. So yeah, that's usually how I look at high rank decks. That's about what I'd say. For you like for the player slash decks performance, you want to be 80% is about right. So as you can see, RagingTron, he's a good player. 72% win rate is pretty low for a high ranked player with a high ranked deck. He has 74 with this one, which is also kind of low. Like here, he's got 100%. That's obviously really good. 86 with the flame tank. 81, 81, 90, 100. So, you know, that one's 42. Yikes, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, my point is, I think at the top of the ladder, 70% is about your baseline. If you're playing a functional deck at the top of the ladder and you're good, you should be getting like 70% win rate with it. That's about right. I'd say it's like a bare minimum. And then if your deck is actually good, like not just functional but actually good, you should be looking at like 80%. And then if your deck is very good, or you are better than most of the people in the competition at the moment, then 90%. So Ensorga, arguably one of the best players playing right now, because he's got the 92% win rate. So he looks like he is in fact just one of the top players right now. You're happy when you reach 69? Yeah, this is for top. Like this is for top players. Just to be clear, like if you're at home being like, oh, I got 50% win rate, I suck. That's not true. Like if you're like a top 10 player, then you should be rocking like 70 to 90%. But if you're, you know, if you're just a guy who makes Tib, like a solid Tib player or Masters player or whatever, then anything above 50 is good. Like anything over 50 is a good win rate. But if you're like, I'm a top 10 player with my you know, deck that I believe is competitive in the top 10, then you should probably be rocking 70 to 90% win rate. So yeah, Alicia always used to be like low 90s, sometimes high 90s. In some seasons, she's like 97%. Same with Serpus. Like Serpus, Quasar, Alicia, Agent, they'd all get like mid to high 90s because they're the best players of all time. You good, like the really good players would be like low 90% to high 80%. I sometimes hit 90s. Yeah, I've sometimes hit 90% plus. I wouldn't. I was not the kind of person who'd be like regularly rocking high 90s, but I definitely have been low 90s in some seasons. I'd say I'm normally on like the high 80s. That's normally about where my decks are, like, because I tend to play like what I consider to be very competitive decks, and I usually play them, you know, quite well. Or I try to, at least. So I usually get like 80, like mid 80s. I'd say is about where I normally sit. Like if I'm low 80s or high 70s, if I'm below 80%, I'm definitely unhappy with that deck's performance, or with my own personal performance. If I'm 90%, I'm very happy with my deck. That's about where. So like 80% is where I'd want to be. 70% I'm sad. 90% I'm happy. That's about what I'd say for my personal win rates on ladder. But yeah, like the best players get like 90 plus, or like sometimes high 90s if they're really like absolutely dominant. And then if you're like a good top 10 player, then I think you should be rocking like 80% with your favorite deck. Like the deck that you play consistently, you should be rocking 80% if you're a top player. And then if you're on like 70%, then your deck probably isn't, like, you're probably doing something wrong if you're getting down to like 70%. Like either your deck is bad, like or you're maybe like maybe you don't belong there. It's overly harsh maybe to say. If you're in the top 10, you probably belong there because you've put in the time and effort. Like you don't get to top 10 without playing well and playing a lot. So, but yeah, back in the day, you would rarely see people with like 70% in the top 10. Because you just lose so many medals when you're high ranked, when you lose out against a lower ranked player. So you really needed like 70% just to stay where you were, and 80% to climb. Was this the longest intro to a Blade video ever? No, I've already won a game. We're already one game in as well.
3, 2, 1. New objective available.
Super tilt. That's how I feel when I play Rivals.
Online. Unit ready.
Lead the way.
Rifleman, lead the way. Where are we going, Rifleman? Oh, we're going to his Harvester. Excellent choice. See if I can get the block. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a beating. Unlucky, my guy. Well, you can't win them all.
Building online.
He's gonna go try and harvest my tip. Looks like he's gonna try and harvest my tip. Chugster? You hate to see it, chat. This deck seems pretty weak to Chuggy. It is primarily a Missile Razorback deck. It transitions into a Zone Razorback deck, but it's primarily a Missile Razorback deck. So Chuggy's going to be quite strong against us. Nothing in my deck really hammers a Chuggy. Although he has double halves, so you know. Just try and win off the back of that, I guess. Mutant Chuggy with double half, interesting. What does that mean exactly? Could really mean anything, to be honest. What's in my air tower? Razorback and Orca? Sure, I'll make an Orca. Why not? I don't want to use my commander power, but it's pretty useless here. I could heal this Pitbull, but like I think I won't be able to heal it enough to be relevant, so it's not worth it. I just wish I had a commander power. This is the thing about, like, Liang is so situational as well. Like, he's kind of weak, but also very situational. So yeah, I'm not a huge Lianger. Alright, let's try and get some healing going on here. I'm getting some good value healing, but also it's like, probably could have just won the game with any other commander power by now. That is a lot of Banshees, man. Holy crap. A lot of Banshees. Alright, GG Super Tilt.
You are victorious. 3, 2, 1. New objective
Warrior.
received.
Harvester ready to collect.
Gladiator
Building
ready.
Online. Unit ready.
Got it. Ready for action.
Ready for action. Is that it? They're done talking? I guess they only do 2 voice lines. And then they stop until you switch unit. I didn't know that. I mean, like, I'd never really considered it.
Harvester, unit ready.
Oh, they only do 1.
Harvester here. Reporting.
Unit ready.
Interesting.
Rifle bull ready to race. Blast them. Rifleman hit bull in a dog fight. We blast them. Hit bull in a dog fight. Pedal to
Unit ready. Unit lost.
He's definitely saying a lot of things. Maybe if you do an attack order, they'll
blast them.
give you another voice line, even if they stop.
Ready.
I'm on it. We'll secure the area.
Yeah, I think if you give them an attack order, they'll give you a little voice line. Based on what you're attacking as well. I know for sure that if you attack a bad target, they'll say something negative. And if you attack a good target, they'll say something positive. Or like, maybe not positive and negative, but like neutral. Like if you have, like, attack bikes have their famous line, which is like, I like hospital food anyway. If you order them to attack something like missiles, they'll say, I like hospital food anyway. That's one of the things they say anyway. I think most units have like 2 to 3 voice lines for every situation. The ones that you don't hear very often, every unit that can't shoot up will have a voice line for when you try and target an air unit. Those ones you don't hear very often, because obviously that's not a thing that people do very often. But if you have a rifleman and you try and tell it to attack an air unit, it will have a voice line for that. I don't know what it is, not off the top of my head, but yeah, if this guy makes an air unit, I'll try and get a rifleman and order it to attack the air unit and see what it says.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, see, like he says no pain, no gain when I order him to attack a buggy.
We'll secure the area.
When I order him to attack a bike, he says we'll secure the area. Or lock and load.
This is gonna be bad.
This is gonna be bad. Yeah, you see? So they got these interesting little voice lines for whether or not you're attacking the right target. Which is pretty cool. It's a nice little feature in the game. Shit, I didn't mean to build another orca. I guess that should go down here. Yeah, she says may take some heat when I order to attack the missile. Anyway, there you go. You've learned something about voice lines today. How many voice lines does DICE have? At least 3.
3.
Good. I assume it's pronounced good.
New objective.
Good, maybe?
Harvest.
Building online.
A little friendly hello.
The doctor is in.
You like the Razorback voice lines? Yeah, there's definitely some good voice lines.
No pain, no gain.
Unit ready.
This is gonna be bad. Missile squad. Infantry missile squad. Reporting. No. Missile closing in. Let's get up. Lock and load. Open. Move out. Missile closing.
Unit ready.
Gotta dice. Await missile closing in.
Yeah, see that one. I think he was saying you gotta die. We gotta die someday. When I told him to attack the dogs.
Rifleman moving out.
I don't really know. I don't really want to go pitbull here, to be honest. But making a lot of doggos. Yeah, the pitbull's not great here. The problem is that against a dog shock deck, which is quite a common deck, I kind of need to go. I think I have to fight the dogs with missiles the whole time. Because if I go pitbull, then I can't go Razorback against shocks. So I think actually I needed to. To just fight with barracks so I could make my air tower.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit missile.
My Razorback stopped. I think I misclicked where my Razorback was going. I think if it had kept moving, it might have made it in time. Yeah, it's very slow to get all 3 of my buildings open, so really I need to be a Razorback missile deck. The issue is then if they're a sling deck, then I can't win. And like quite a lot of decks are sling decks. Like if they have sling shock, I just can't. I have nothing that can fight it. In fact, I don't know how RagingTron beats sling shock with this deck. I think he probably just doesn't. This deck looks extremely weak to sling shock. That's why most Razorback decks don't play only Razorback as their anti-infantry. Because if you only have Razorback, then you cannot beat Slingshot.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Isn't looking too great. Again, I wish I had a commander power, but we have Liang, so
Unit ready.
if wishes were horses, then I wouldn't have to rely on Liang.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Warning. Enemy ion cannon activated. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Make an orca. Clear up one of these pipples quicker.
Unit lost.
Okay. Didn't have, fortunately he did not have, what's it called? Slingshot, or I don't think I could have won that missile ever. Try and transition into zone. Or transition into zone Razorback.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
These zones are doing a lot of damage.
Enemy
Yeah,
ion
fair
cannon
enough.
activated. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Very focused on killing my Razorbacks, I've noticed.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Liang Steel, you love to see it? The slowest steel known to man.
Nuclear weapon launched.
Ridiculous commander.
Objective complete. 3,
Troll.
1.
I think given the cost of a Razorback, perhaps with this deck I'm supposed to be trying to Liang the Razorbacks. Although Liang costs 50, Razorback costs 60. I don't even save that much. Like, it costs me a lot of time to heal up a Razorback, and I don't even save much money. I save like 10 Tiberium. And that's assuming it's like getting a whole new Razorback. So, yeah. It's not really the best Liang deck. There isn't really much to Liang in here. You can't Liang Zone Troopers either. I mean, Lianging Orca I think is actually decent. Like, especially against Nod. You have situations against Nod where you take a bike hit to kill them with Orca, and then you can Liang back up from the bike hit, and that's actually decent against Nod, because then you can just keep doing that over and over, killing bike squadrons. You can like aggress into bike squadrons, which is pretty unusual. Normally you don't want to go into a bike squadron. This would be a reasonable spot to Liang, I think. If I had the money for Liang, that is. I'm gonna try and keep this guy back,
Unit ready.
and then we'll try and get some Liang value out of him. Yeah, here we go. If we keep that Pibble alive, we can actually get some value out of this Liang. It's just so bad, man. It's honestly just so bad. That Pibble is still healing, like...
Unit ready.
I put the Liang down ages ago. It's just not that good. Like, it's way worse than just having an extra unit. It's just rubbish. It's actually just rubbish, isn't it? The units don't have enough hit points for Liang to be good in this deck.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
I don't really understand why RagingTron has Liang in this deck. I don't get that Iron Cannon either.
Unit
That was a very mediocre Iron Cannon.
online.
We did save money, I guess, because like we just had those two pit. But we weren't really winning the fight that well, but we did save money because we just had two pit bulls.
Unit ready.
Just kind of chilling.
Unit lost.
Yeah, goodbye Liang drone. Oh, we didn't kill it? That's surprising. See if I can get some... If I can heal like this whole Razorback, I get some value, I guess. But like then the Razorback isn't fighting. It's just terrible. Oh, it's just rubbish, man. It's just a rubbish commander.
Unit ready.
Razorback affirmative. Strafing targets.
Well, thanks to Liang.
Missile launched. Unit lost.
The zones heal themselves. That is true. The zones do have self-healing.
3,
Backwards.
1. New objective available.
Yeah, I'd actually be interested to see what RagingTron has to say about this deck. If he ever comes into the stream.
Unit ready.
It really doesn't seem like a Liang deck. I would play probably Jackson since it has zones and Razorback. I think you could play Strong Arm or Solomon as well, but I actually do think that Jackson would make the most sense.
Unit ready.
So I don't want to go into Pitbull because I don't want to get into a situation where I have to go Razorback against Flames. So I'm just going to wait. I'm also very... Yeah, there's the Flames. Very happy just to be chilling. Because we have tech units, obviously.
Building online. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Don't think Banshee's a great response here. The Razorback missile. Like, more Flamers would be better than a Banshee.
Warhead cancelled.
Yes, Commander. Yes, Commander. Splash that sucker. To the danger zone.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Strafing targets.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Gonna try and keep my Razorback alive and healthy. I don't really like winning the missile is fine and all, but I'm okay with just stalling because I have these zone troopers. And as long as I'm getting like value out of this Razorback over and over, I don't really need to win the missile right now. I think a lot of people do get caught up in the winning the missile, which like I know it sounds stupid to say, but actually like if you're in a spot like this, you can extract a lot of value from your opponent because they're desperately throwing units at the pad and they're just letting you kill them. So like look how much Tiberium I'm up now. Like I get this first, I now have this first missile zone trooper because I've just been chilling and letting him on the pad over and over and just killing his stuff. We're gonna see zones lose to wheels. I think so. Yeah, the zones are getting crushed by the wheels. I actually don't mind that. Like 3v1, I think pretty much anything should be anything when there's 3v1.
Unit lost.
But now we're like almost 3 minutes and I have 2 zone troopers and I don't think he has any outs to my zone troopers. Oh shit, I spoke too soon.
Unit ready.
Although,
Warhead launched.
I mean,
Unit
I
lost.
have so many zones.
Unit ready.
Definitely let my units tank Flamers too much when I'm playing Razorback decks. I should really be pulling them back because they do take a lot of damage from the Flames even with the Razorback shooting them.
Unit ready.
Best in the business.
Is this still the same Razorback? Did I only make one Razorback this game? I think this is the same Razorback. I wonder what the KDR on this Razorback is. I mean, obviously, like, it's infinite because the Razorback didn't die yet. But I wonder how many kills it has. Oh, still lives. Let's go Razorback.
You are victorious. Battlefield control.
Eugene.
3, 2, 1. New objective received. Building online. Unit ready.
Yeah, I mean, my opponent in that last game had Inferno. He made 1 Inferno, which is a 100 cost unit. I made like 4 Zone Troopers, which cost 120 each, and have a more expensive building. Just because I was able to extract value. Like, he was pushing so hard on that near that missile. I just killed a lot of things basically for free. I assume there's going to be flamers soon. That's normally what happens after wheels. Just a lot more wheels. Kind of surprising. Kind of wish I hadn't moved in now against that many wheels. I'm also charging, which is bad, because actually the Razorback's a little too slow. I mean, look, I can't quite, like you see here, like the missile, if I didn't have this stall for a little bit, then the Razorback would not arrive in time. Yeah, Razorback is actually like a little bit too slow first missile. Oh dear. These missiles are going to be too slow? Yeah, I shouldn't have let them on the pad. I thought my missiles would arrive in time, but they didn't. Messed that one up. These bikes are so aggressive, man.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
So aggressive.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Missile Razorback, like, actually does surprisingly poorly against just Bike Flamer. Because the bikes and the flamers just do a lot of damage. And they're quite cheap, so you can just keep making them and throwing them in. Whereas the Razorback's quite expensive. The missiles are obviously dirt cheap, but the Razorback's quite expensive. So if you have to remake the Razorback, that can be a beating.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, just could not, just overwhelmed by weight of units. Really,
Launched.
wasn't really ever losing that fight. He just made a million more units than I did.
Mission failed.
I just can't clear his stuff quickly enough because the Razorback DPS is so low.
3, 2.
I think I had to make pit bulls to have something that to tank the flamer better. 'Cause the flamers and the bikes just do such high DPS comparatively to the missiles and the Razorback. And they're so cheap. Like in terms of like units killed, I killed way more units than he did. But that doesn't matter. Because obviously you can't convert that into anything. You have to actually have a way to convert that into something like map control. Because because the missiles keep like getting slowly taken down by the flamers. It's a very slow and grindy situation where you get overrun eventually by the bikes.
Building online. Unit
By the bikes and the flames.
Unit lost.
See if you've got slingshot. Drone swarm is not the kind of thing you'd make if you have slingshot. You just make a slingshot. So I'm guessing he doesn't have slingshot.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Wish I could. Strafing over. That'll blow up nice. Gun is off strafing. Yes.
Missile launched.
Pretty good start for me.
Building online.
See if we can make it to the zones.
Building online. Unit
The zones will clean up against the drone swarm harder than the missiles. Although not that much harder. Like, zones performance compared to missiles is not that much better. For a unit that costs 6 times as much, it's like, what, 3 times better maybe? I'm not even sure if it's 3 times better.
Unit ready.
Playing Solomon? He is playing Solomon. He's gonna Solomon my zone trooper.
Warning.
Yep.
Enemy ion cannon activated.
Alright, one of the zone troopers dodged.
Unit ready.
Razorback, this is good moving. You can be blown into a
Unit lost. Unit ready.
That single zone trooper is going to have a really bad time against Drone Swarm.
Yes, Commander.
Like a solitary model. It's like he's just rubbish. Like, he's honestly just not very good against Drone Swarms. Because there's so many models in Drone Swarms, I have to make pit bulls. It's sad.
Unit lost. Warning. Enemy ion
Another
cannon
iron cannon.
activated.
Man is very rich.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Okay. This should be game over, I think. Alright, cool. I don't know what his deck was very weird. I wonder what he's playing.
Unit lost. Objective complete. 3, 2, 1. New objective received.
So I've looked up the stats. And actually, a zone trooper's DPS is about twice that of a missile squad.
Rifleman, lead the way.
And its hit points are about
Orders received.
2 times as much as a missile squad.
Unit ready.
So a zone trooper, you're paying 120 to get 2 missile squads stapled together with 2 models instead of 4.
Unit ready.
And then self-healing. And it costs 6 times as much and comes from an incredibly expensive building. So I mean, like, that just tells you how good missile stats are, I guess. Or it tells you how bad zone trooper stats are. You can look at it either way. I think probably what it's telling you is that missile trooper stats are crazy good. That's probably the main thing. That's the main takeaway here.
Unit
Is that a missile trooper's stats are bonkers. Yeah, once again, the Razorback is just a little too slow.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
It's difficult to stall against dogs, though. Like, dogs tend to dictate the pace of the game. The dog player can usually decide whether there's stall or not. That's why War Factory opening is like the best for aggro, because you usually get to dictate the pace of the game.
Unit ready.
Shit, I didn't mean to move that guy. It's pretty bad. Come on, kill the dog. Kill the dog. Get on the pad. No, can't do it. Can't kill the stuff in time. The DPS on Razorback is just kind of low. It was, I mean, like, it has to be, because it is an insanely busted unit if its DPS is high, because it has flying and radar, which is ridiculous. I might have to learn from the previous game and actually mix some pit bulls in. I'm trying to get to Zone Trooper quickly, but I think I need to maybe have some pit bulls to tank the. Like, I can fight pit bull with pit bull instead of using missiles, and then I can also tank the shock troopers with with pit bull.
Unit lost.
I'm a Maverick. I'm prepared, drone. Yes, command. Copy that.
Unit ready.
Ready to best in the people here. What up?
Warning. Enemy ion cannon activated. Unit lost.
The thing is, a lot of people like feel really psyched about iron cannoning a bunch of units, and I don't think they really consider the economic the economic implications of their play. They're like, bro, I'm gonna get like Razorback and 2 missiles, and you're like, yeah, which cost 100 for your 130 cost commander power. Like, it is often just negative income. Like, it's negative money to iron cannon. So if it's not an absolute banger of a tempo play, a lot of the time it's just not that good.
Unit lost.
I think people often forget that.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
So many Razorbacks. I'm hoping that I just can tank long enough
Unit lost.
with my Razorbacks. Is it iron cannoning again?
Activated.
It's not a good one for me. Yeah, couldn't kill the thing at the bottom quickly enough. This map is way worse for me. This is a much worse map for 2-unit combo.
Our base has been destroyed.
But like, the whole deck is just missile Razorback, really.
3, 2, 1. New objective available.
Time to harvest.
Building online. Unit ready.
Got it. Rifleman ready to move out.
Jazz 77.
You're ready.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what one of the big problems with balance in Rivals at the moment is Flamers and Shocks are too fast. Like, that speed boost was so unwarranted that they got. Like, the speed was never their problem. They were bad because in the meta there were too many units that dumped on them. And then they got this random speed boost that didn't do anything. And then the meta developed to a point where they were good, and they also still had the random speed boost.
Building online.
This is pretty tough for me because Razorback Missile is pretty bad against Buggy. Because obviously that's a thing that kills both Razorbacks and missiles. So I'm probably going to need Orca this matchup. But then Orca is very expensive. Like you can see, I can't possibly afford an Orca right now. Do this. Heads up play to move the bikes over there, but he couldn't win with the Buggy against 2 missiles, so it didn't really matter. I mean, just look how much damage a Bike Squadron does. Like, a Bike Squadron hitting a Razorback, like, that thing is out of commission, man. You hit it twice with Bike Squadron, basically just dies. Like, look at it. This has been hit twice by a Bike Squadron. It's done for.
Unit ready.
So you gotta be really careful with Razorback, like, because it's so easy to kill it. And bikes are such a throwaway unit. It's so easy to chuck a couple of bikes. In fact, you just chuck like 8 bikes at a Razorback, and you just need 2 of them to stick, and the Razorback dies. And yeah, it's not economically efficient if you lose that many bikes, but if you're a bike flamer situation, like, money is never an object for you if all you're making is bikes and flamers. It's just not a problem.
Unit lost.
I do think I haven't really been making enough Orca, though. Even against GDI, I think I should have been making more Orcas. Just because they are, like, the instant kill on a Pitbull is a big deal in terms of the tempo. Like, the 2 games I've lost have been on the more spread out map. And I've just lost to being overwhelmed by Pitbull or Bike. And I just can't kill them quickly enough. And Flamers. So I think an Orca to Insta-Gib would have actually been a pretty good addition to my arsenal.
Launch.
Alright, well, that game was pretty straightforward. This map is obviously way better for me. I just sit on the middle. Really hard to get to my Razorback. So we win 8-2, which is 80%. It's perfectly fine. It's about what you'd expect for a deck that has a competent game plan like Razorback Missile. But it's not good. It's not a great win rate. Like if you got rid of the zones and put in a proper unit, then obviously we'd probably be looking at 90 or 100% with the deck. I mean, I wouldn't just replace zones. Like, I think rifles are pretty weak in this metagame. I actually think rifles are really weak in this metagame. So I would probably just... I don't think you should play rifles. Like, it is a heavy infantry metagame. I think Shocks and Flames are kind of pillars of the format right now. Like, most of the good decks play them. If you look at the top 10 on both sides, you'll see a lot of Shocks and Flames. So I would just play Shocks and Flames right now. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the RagingTron Zone Trooper deck. Oh, you could also play a better commander. Like, the commander sucks. A big problem I had was clearing the stuff out quickly enough. Boost would have helped a lot, whereas Liang was trash. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.